As mentioned, I'm going to start by teaching you about partial views, and will then be using these partial views in our Pi overview page. This will encourage code reuse, and that is of course always a good thing. Imagine that you have two different views in your application. In our case, this could be the list page where we can see the list of pies, and secondly, the home page where I show you a number of promoted pies. In both views, I'll need some code to visualize a pie with its image, short description, price, and so on. If I were to write these two views completely without reusing any code, I'll basically be creating the same code twice for the visualization of the pie. Now that is not good, isn't it? Say hello to partial views. Partial views are like a fragment of code that I can embed in several places, enabling code reuse. A partial view is again just a view. Here you can see a simple partial view. Doesn't look very different from a regular view, right? Indeed, from a code perspective, a partial view is just a regular view, but we'll use it as part of another view. It's also typed in this case in Pi, and we use that model to access different property values for display. One thing is different though. It's a convention in ASP.NET Core MVC to give all partial views a name that starts with an underscore. This allows us to distinguish between regular views and partial views. With the partial view created, now we can use it, of course. To do so, we can rely on another tag helper, the partial tag helper. We encountered tag helpers a first time in the previous module when we were creating links to actions and controls, and they were used as attributes. Tag helpers can also be a tag, and that's what we have with the partial tag helper. Code will be triggered when we use this tag helper to search for the partial view we specify in the name property. And we can also pass it an object to be used as the model inside of the partial view, which is here the Pi instance. In general, partial views are often used to avoid code duplication and thus promote code reuse. Now, while that is a good thing, the reuse part isn't always a requirement to consider the use of partial views. If you have a complex screen, breaking it up in multiple smaller partial views might also be another good use case for partial views. Partial views will always execute in the context of a regular view. You basically can't navigate to a partial view. Therefore, they also don't execute the view start code, for example. And, like many things in ASP.NET Core MVC, partial views do follow some conventions again. They are searched for by ASP.NET Core in the shared folder as well as the folder in which the view which consumes it is located. And as said, often the file name is prefixed with an underscore. Here you can see a screenshot of a more finished application where we have multiple partial views. I have placed all partial views here in the shared folder, which lives under the views folder. This location is searched automatically by ASP.NET Core when using a partial view. That is a default. And as we can see, all file names start with an underscore, making it easy to spot which are partial views.